I improved my sleep by implementing what I've learned at med school, and the results were astonishing. Here's how I did it. Imagine this. You wake up after a good night's sleep, your hair is perfect, and you feel energetic, ready to tackle the day. You have a sharp memory and a positive mood, and you can easily concentrate on the task at hand. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, but this dream might be more achievable than you think. Here's how. So, as a med student, I've learned a thing or two about sleeping, and I put these tips to the test, and these are the ones that I found useful. Oh yeah, and stay tuned for last, because I'm sure there are some that you've never heard about. There is no doubt about it. Sleep is important. It helps you feel energized during the day, it helps you concentrate, and when you don't sleep enough, there are up to 10 to even 100 diseases that you are more likely to get because of it. I am talking about heart diseases like heart attacks or depression or even Alzheimer's, and even so much more. But before we begin, I want to mention that sleep deprivation is not solved during one night. On average, you can count on catching up of 2 hours of sleep each night. Before we continue, I want to warn you about sleep medications. They're often very addictive, and the story usually goes like this. It has been a few days that you've not slept well, and eventually you'll go to the doctor, and the doctor will prescribe you some medications, and you take them and you sleep like a baby. And the next day you're also not sleeping well, so you decide to take another one. And you again sleep like a baby. And the next day you take another one, and then another one, and another one, until you are addicted. The problem with this is that you won't be able to sleep without them anymore, and the dosage that you have to take to fall asleep will only increase. In conclusion, you shouldn't take them. Literature suggests that you only take these in cases of unbearable suffering, and that is something like a family member suddenly dying. And then again, you should only take them briefly in that case. Controlling your night. Okay, hear me out, because it's not all about killing your lights. Your brain uses light to determine when it's day or night, and that is called the circadian rhythm. You can disrupt this rhythm when there is too much light at night or too little light in the morning. And researchers think that is because of the way we lived in the Stone Ages. Lights above your head would then represent the sun, and the sun is only there when it's day, and the lights below you would be campfire or something. And you only put on campfires when it's dark. When I started to implement these techniques, I found that indeed I felt more sleepy when I wanted to go to sleep. And in the morning, you should be exposed to a lot of light. And there are a few ways how you can do this. Or you could just open your curtains, but I personally use something like smart lamps. I can program these lights to lighten up when I need to wake up. I mentioned the circadian rhythm earlier, and it's a rhythm. So that means you have to try to keep it stable. And if you work in shifts, you've probably already noticed that the moment that you start to switch from day work to night work, or the other way around, is the moment that you sleep the worst. But if you consistently go to bed at 11 p.m. and wake up the next morning at 7 a.m., you'll start to notice that you'll feel tired around 11 p.m. And if you forget to set your alarm clock, you've probably already noticed that you'll still wake up at 7 a.m. That is that circadian rhythm. When I started to implement this, I really felt a huge jump in my energy levels in the morning. And of course, as a medical student, it's not always possible to keep that schedule, but I try to follow it as close as possible. Try to avoid stressful things. Instead, try to find things that relax you, like listening to a podcast, for instance, or anything else that doesn't require much thought. Don't start arguing with your partner or do something heavy for work, or even checking emails, for instance. These types of things trigger your adrenergic nervous system, and that triggers your adrenaline, and thus it makes you feel right away. Personally, I like to listen to podcasts and go for a walk with my dog. My dog gets to walk, and I get to feel relaxed and go to bed afterwards. Okay, this one is a bit different for some people, because we all know coffee makes you feel right awake, and a lot of you probably take it to overcome your morning slump. But some people, including me, drink too much. So studies have shown that some people metabolize caffeine slower than others. That means that some people can drink 10 coffees and feel sleepy afterwards, and others can drink one and be awake all night. Sadly, I belong to the latter one. So that is the reason why I stopped drinking caffeine after 4 p.m. because otherwise I couldn't sleep. So it takes me up to 6 hours to metabolize caffeine from this thing. So it's preferable to know in which category you belong. And sadly, the only way to find that out is by testing it. So drink some coffee and don't sleep, I guess. So now I could start rumbling on about how you should have a good bed and a good pillow. And yes, that's true. I sleep better with a good pillow, but there is something else. And as my professor used to say, a bed is just for sleeping and to have intercourse. And that's true. You have to make the right brain association. And unfortunately, I, in my room, have also my desk. So that makes my brain think that my bedroom is not only for sleeping and also for work. And work can be stressful. So I'll feel stressed when I enter my bedroom. But that's not the ideal situation. If you eat, work, whatever, do it somewhere else and not in your bedroom. Oh yeah, and this also works the other way around. If you dedicate one room to studying alone, you will study better in that room. So this one is a bonus. Your temperature in your room should be between 16 or 20 degrees. That is because you are sleeping under a blanket and you actually cool down a bit. So that's the right temperature. There is a challenge amongst people who want to be healthy to drink enough water. They set a daily goal of how much water they have to drink. But a lot of these people who don't reach their goal, they will chug that water at the evening, right before they have to sleep. And that's not always a good idea, because most of the time they will wake up multiple times at night to go to the bathroom. And that disrupts your sleep, of course. I'm not saying you shouldn't drink that much water, I'm just saying that you should spread it throughout the day. So when you eat a heavy meal, you feel tired, right? Yet your sleep quality goes down. But how does it work? Well, it's because that a lot of blood is transferred to your GI system to pick up the nutrients you just ate. And it costs a lot of energy as well, and it disrupts your sleep. So don't eat heavy meals when you want to go to sleep. So I sometimes like to drink a beer. Well, we all know that alcohol is not that good for you. But we also know that you fall asleep more quickly if you drink some alcohol. Yet the quality is not that great. You have to look at falling asleep quickly and the quality of sleep as two separate things. So again, we've talked about this. You'll have to go to the toilet more, and that also breaks your sleep cycle. And also it takes a lot of energy to break down alcohol, so that also leads to worse sleep quality. Oh yeah, did you also know if you want to pour the perfect pint, you have to make your glass wet first? I'm not an alcoholic, I just like to drink. Some people cannot sleep because they are struggling with their life goals, and mental issues can really impact your sleep. I made a whole video about how you could reach your dreams based on my experiences in med school.